Today, we're diving into the juicy world of tomatoes with some must-know pruning techniques for tomatoes to ensure you get the best harvest out of your tomato plants. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your skills, these tomato gardening tips are perfect for beginner gardeners like you. Now, the first thing to tackle when pruning your tomatoes is dealing with those pesky suckers. These little offshoots can be quite the nuisance if left unchecked. You see them sprouting up between the main stem and a branch, looking all vigorous and eager to grow. They seem to have a mind of their own, don't they? And while enthusiasm is admirable in this case, it's a bit misguided. These suckers can divert essential resources away from the main plant. These suckers, you see, are a bit like those well-meaning friends who invite themselves along on your holiday. They mean well, but they end up using up all your resources. They take up space, water, and nutrients that could be better used by the main stems and fruit. In the tomato plant's case, those resources are water, nutrients, and sunlight. Without proper management, your plant might end up looking lush but producing fewer tomatoes. So we're going to give those suckers a gentle but firm no thank you. It's all about guiding the plant's energy where it's needed most. When you spot a sucker, don't let it get too big. The sooner you catch it, the easier it is to remove. Ideally, you want to catch it when it's about 2 to 4 inches long. At this size, they're still tender and easy to pinch off. Now, you have a couple of options for removing them. Depending on your preference and the size of the sucker, you can choose the method that works best for you. You can simply pinch them off with your fingers, especially when they're small. It's quite satisfying, really. Just a quick pinch and twist, and they're gone. Or, if you prefer, you can use a pair of sharp pruners to snip them off cleanly. This method is particularly useful for larger suckers that might be tougher to pinch off. Just be sure to make the cut close to the stem, but without damaging the main stem itself. A clean cut helps the plant heal faster and reduces the risk of disease. We want to be decisive but not brutal. Gentle, precise cuts are the way to go. Now, there's a slight caveat to this sucker removal business. It's not always a one-size-fits-all approach. If you're growing indeterminate tomato varieties, those are the ones that keep on growing and producing fruit throughout the season. You might consider leaving 1 or 2 suckers on the plant. This can actually be beneficial in the long run. Think of it as a bit of succession planting. By allowing a few suckers to grow, you're essentially planning for a continuous harvest. These extra suckers will develop into their own stems, giving you a later harvest and extending your tomato bounty. It's a strategic move for those who want to maximize their yield. But for the most part, remember, a de-suckered tomato plant is a happy tomato plant. By managing these suckers, you're ensuring that your plant stays healthy and productive throughout the growing season. Now, let's move on to the lower leaves. These leaves, often overlooked, play a crucial role in the overall health of your tomato plant. But, as the plant matures, their role changes significantly. These are the leaves at the bottom of the plant, closest to the ground. They were essential when the plant was young, helping it to establish itself and grow strong. However, as the plant grows taller, these lower leaves become less important. And while they might have played a vital role in the plant's early days, they're not doing much good now, and in fact, they can actually cause problems. These leaves often become withered and yellow, indicating that they are no longer contributing to the plant's health. Think of it this way. These lower leaves are like a welcome mat for pests and diseases. They provide an easy entry point for all sorts of unwanted guests that can harm your plant. They're close to the soil, where all sorts of fungal spores and bacteria are lurking, just waiting for an opportunity to jump onto your precious tomato plants. The proximity to the ground makes them more susceptible to these harmful elements. And when these leaves get wet, either from watering or rain, they create the perfect humid environment for these unwelcome guests to thrive. Moisture on the leaves can lead to fungal infections and other diseases that can spread quickly. So we're going to give them their marching orders. It's time to take action and remove these problematic leaves. Using your trusty pruners, simply cut off any leaves that are touching the ground or those that look a bit yellow or sickly. This will help to prevent the spread of disease and keep your plant healthy. Again, a clean cut is what we're after. Make sure your pruners are sharp and clean to avoid damaging the plant. And don't be afraid to be a bit ruthless here. Removing these leaves might seem harsh, but it's for the greater good of the plant. Your tomato plants will thank you for it in the long run. You'll notice a significant improvement in their overall health and productivity. By removing these lower leaves, you're improving air circulation around the base of the plant, which helps to prevent disease. Good air circulation is crucial for keeping the plant dry and healthy. You're also directing the plant's energy upwards, towards the developing fruit, which is where we want it to go. This ensures that the plant's resources are used efficiently. So remember, when it comes to lower leaves on your tomato plants, less is definitely more. Pruning these leaves will lead to a healthier, more productive plant that will reward you with delicious tomatoes. Next, let's talk about dead or damaged growth. Just like with any plant, it's important to remove any parts that are no longer thriving. This could be leaves that have turned yellow or brown, stems that have snapped, or any areas that look diseased or infested with pests. Think of it as a bit of plant surgery. We're removing the unhealthy parts to prevent the problem from spreading and to allow the plant to focus its energy on healthy growth. When removing dead or damaged growth, it's essential to make clean cuts with your pruners. This helps to minimize stress on the plant and prevents further damage. If you're dealing with a diseased area, it's a good idea to sterilize your pruners with rubbing alcohol or a bleach solution between cuts to avoid spreading the disease to other parts of the plant or to other plants in your garden. Remember, prevention is always better than cure. Regularly inspecting your tomato plants for any signs of trouble and promptly removing any dead or damaged growth will go a long way in keeping your plants healthy and productive. It's a bit like keeping a tidy house. A little bit of maintenance goes a long way in creating a happy and thriving environment. Now let's talk about thinning. This step is particularly important if you're growing your tomatoes in a confined space, like containers or raised beds, where air circulation can be limited. In such environments, the plants can quickly become overcrowded, leading to a host of problems. Without proper thinning, the dense foliage can trap moisture, creating a perfect breeding ground for fungal diseases. Additionally, the lack of airflow can cause the plants to overheat, stressing them and reducing their overall productivity. Thinning essentially means removing some of the branches to create more space between the remaining ones. This process helps to ensure that each branch has enough room to grow and develop properly. By giving the plant a more open structure, you also make it easier for beneficial insects to navigate and help control pests naturally. This might seem counterintuitive. After all, don't more branches mean more tomatoes? Well, not necessarily. While it might seem logical to think that more branches would lead to more fruit, the reality is that overcrowded plants often produce smaller and less flavorful tomatoes. The plant's energy gets spread too thin, and it can't support the development of large, healthy fruits. When tomato plants get too crowded, they have to compete more for resources, which can lead to smaller fruit and an increased risk of disease. Overcrowded plants are more susceptible to issues like blight and mildew, which can quickly spread and devastate your crop. By thinning, you reduce the competition for nutrients, water, and light, giving each remaining branch a better chance to thrive. By thinning out some of the branches, you're allowing the remaining ones to access more sunlight and air, which will result in bigger, healthier tomatoes. Sunlight is crucial for photosynthesis, the process by which plants produce the energy they need to grow. More sunlight means more energy, which translates to more robust growth and better fruit production. So, how do you know which branches to remove? It can be a bit daunting at first, but with a little practice, you'll get the hang of it. The key is to focus on creating a balanced structure that allows light and air to penetrate the entire plant. A good rule of thumb is to look for branches that are crossing over each other or that are growing inwards towards the center of the plant. These branches can create congestion and block light from reaching the inner parts of the plant. Removing them helps to open up the plant and improve overall airflow. These branches are more likely to rub against each other, creating wounds that can become entry points for disease. Damaged branches are also less productive and can divert the plant's energy away from fruit production. By removing them, you help the plant to focus its resources on the healthiest and most productive branches. When thinning, aim to create an open and airy structure within the plant, allowing sunlight to reach all parts of the foliage. This not only helps with photosynthesis, but also makes it easier to spot and address any potential issues, such as pests or diseases, before they become serious problems. Remember, it's better to err on the side of caution and remove a few too many branches than to leave the plant too crowded. Over time, you'll develop a sense of how much thinning is just right for your specific growing conditions and tomato varieties. A well-thinned tomato plant will reward you with a bountiful harvest of delicious, juicy tomatoes. The effort you put into thinning will pay off with healthier plants and more abundant, high-quality fruit. So, take your time, be patient, and enjoy the process of nurturing your tomato plants to their full potential. And there you have it, folks. With these effective pruning methods for tomato plants, you're on your way to maximizing tomato production in your garden. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you found these tomato growing tips helpful. Drop any questions below and let's keep those tomatoes coming. See you in the next video where we'll explore more ways to improve our gardens. Until then, keep those hands dirty. Happy gardening!